We are about to head home. We went to our very first yoga class. We've been doing yoga for years at home, but we've never gone to a class. And so we went to a class today. And it was so gnarly the entire time. There was just traumatic stress coming up, so many memory flashes, so many fragments of sensation. And then consequentially, there were all these thoughts of like, oh my God, why did I come here? Why did I do this to myself? I could be at home relaxing or getting work done. Like, why am I even here? Recognize that as an inner critic. Responded in love, responded with permission. Breathed through, let myself cry. Always came back to the knowing that this moment shall pass, but the seeds that I'm planting energetically will remain. And so it was a full hour of yin yoga where it's super, super slow. Like the whole time, the whole hour we did maybe like 5 main poses or something, and we just stayed in them for like ever. And it was intense. And I kept coming back to a place of presence, and I kept coming back to a place of gratitude. And I kept returning to focus on my breathing and giving myself permission to be as I am, and reminding myself of who I am and where I am, and unblending, describing all the sensations that are coming up as happening to a third tense person of myself, so that me in present day could be the observer and conscious responder to she, the person who experienced these sensations, who is it creates linear time where linear time doesn't exist. Like those sensations come up and they feel present tense, but being here in my person, describing it as her, creates this timeline where this was then and this is now and this is coming up now. But because I know this, I can respond in a way that creates space for linear timeline to be created within the activation of these sensations. And so I practiced breathing. We let ourselves cry. I felt no shame in it. We took our time with things. We gave ourselves permission to be confused and get lost. Like there was a time when I wasn't sure what we were actually like doing in our next pose or whatever, and I would immediately just be crippled with anxiety and fear, like, oh my God, people are gonna know that I'm not perfect, that I don't know what I'm doing. But instead it was just, let me glance around, let me get some cues, and let me make it my own. And I'm really seeing a lot of the growth that we've been working on. It's one thing to see it at home when I'm alone, but to see it when I'm out in public spaces around people doing something that's challenging, in a new place, around new people, when it's nighttime and I've been working all day, and you know, like all of these different things, it's really such a divine confirmation to know that I'm where I need to be, and that all the hard work of being present when it's difficult, and of showing up and doing all the healing stuff that we've been doing, it pays off. It pays off in really big ways. Like really big ways. And so a full hour of yoga, and then there was a part of me that afterwards like, let's get out of here. But I could tell that there was a lot activated, and that my experience wasn't over yet, that there were more opportunities that I could take and find healing instead of just leaving as soon as I get a chance to leave. And so I inquired about the other room they had, and they were hosting a free meditation afterwards. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we waited in the room a little while. There's just a couple other people there, and we're about to go into it. And I was thinking it was going to be like a guided meditation, like someone talking the whole time, guiding you through some like super Zen process or something. But no, we were just gonna sit there for 20 minutes in silence in this super quiet space. And I was like, at first I'm like, what did I get myself into? I should have left when I had the chance. But again, I noticed that as an automated sensation that just needed love and permission and space and gentle compassion and presence. And so we got to a place where we quieted our mind during the meditation, and then we started incorporating all the stuff that we've taught ourselves. The thing we call fire breathing, where you stick our hands out, arms out, and put our finger up in the air and basically do that for many minutes. And it cools the liver and kidneys, the anger centers, or anger is a secondary emotion to fear. So I figured it would work for fear and anxiety too, and it did. And so we did that for a while, and then we began doing energy work, and we pulled in light through our crown chakra and brought it down and went chakra by chakra. I have permission to be connected. I have permission to have a vision for my life. I have permission to speak my truth. My identity is the energy of my heart space. And then we gathered all the energy that we built up here, and we brought it down to our lower chakras and began to heal some of the traumas that had been arising during the yoga, and just brought that light down. And once we kind of felt some of the pain start to be released, then we anchored in, drifted our energy over our legs, and then had one hovered by our feet that were crossed and the other hovering by like this area near our root chakra-ish, and just really deeply rooted in Mother Gaia and the healing energies that nature inherently carries within her. And so, and then once we were deeply rooted and grounded, then we started to bring the energy back up and reestablish presence here, and then just kind of hovered here in our heart space, and then brought the energy from close to us and slowly separated our hands with the intention of filling the entire room with our love. And once we could feel that thickness of loving energy in the entire room, we allowed it to drift into the city. And we just imagined our love flowing through as like an energy, just flowing through the cities, and all the people being children, because we might be grown up in our bodies, but the core of who we are still comes from our inner child. And so just imagining everyone in the city as children instead of adults, and this loving energy seeping through the city, seeping through the streets, seeping into the buildings, and connecting with these children all over town, inner children all over town. And then brought the energy back in to me, and brought it up and poured that loving energy into my throat, giving myself permission to speak my truth, and pulled that energy back up and gave, just created space for, and permission and confirmation and validation, empowerment to have a vision for the world I desire to build from the inside out of my miraculous energetic consciousness. And then brought the energy back up and just allowed myself to dream and float into the miraculous atmosphere where there is infinite potentiality through the dancing energies of the galaxies. And then brought myself back down and grounded in my breath and in my body, and did more of the fire breathing technique, and then laid out my mat and stretched it out, and went back into child's pose, and then went back into I forget what it's called, some other pose. So you're stretching your back, and brought that to the end of the 20 minutes, and we did it. And a lot of the traumatic energy that had been coming up during the yoga got cleansed in the meditation. And so we were here a total of almost 2.5 hours.